Welcome back to Media7. These have been interesting times for Rupert Murdoch and News Corporation. In this week's Source, Sam Mulgrew sizes up the man and his empire.
It was in 1952 that Rupert Murdoch inherited his first newspaper. Now, after almost 60 years of help from his secret recipe media fertilizer, the 80-year-old six-billionaire has built media interests on every inhabited continent. One of the world's most powerful men, he's CEO and chairman of the $57 billion News Corp, the world's second largest entertainment giant. Perhaps his most successful yet infamous brand is Fox News. A January News Trust poll found 49% trust Fox News, the most of any network. 3/4 of those were Republican. There's no doubt his partisan approach to news wins him bums on seats. The latest cable viewership numbers saw Fox News programs take the top 12 spots. Things aren't all peachy though. Fox's Glenn Beck has had to walk after all the advertisers did just that. And last week in England, his longest-standing sensationalist rag, News of the World, apologised to 24 big-name Britons after admitting hacking into their mobile voicemails. In terms of his paywalls, he's only released numbers from the Times Online, and, surprise, surprise, they're good, with digital growth outweighing the decline of print.
Sam Mulgrew there. Now, more than once on Media7, we've shown you clips from a series called Auto-Tune the News. But who are the geeks behind it? We sent Jose Barbosa to New York to investigate.
This is Brooklyn, New York. It was here in 1992 a young and vital Steven Seagal made the now classic film Out for Justice.
Anybody seen Richie? Huh?
Well, Brooklyn is still a nurturing womb for the creative arts, and amongst all of this, 4 young Turks have married their natural talent with the internet to create something remarkable.
1, 2, 3. It is time to stand up and say, we get to choose, we get to choose.
This is Auto-Tune the News. It's an ongoing series of YouTube videos where recycled footage of news anchors and politicians is treated with a software process used in the recording industry to correct out-of-tune vocals. The people behind this mischief are the Gregory Brothers, a musical quartet comprised of 3 siblings and a sister-in-law. So how did you guys meet?
It all started with a single zygote, and that must have been at least 10 or 15 years ago. We just literally lost count of how long it's been.
You could say their parents introduced them.
We've been performing together for the last 3 or 4 years, and we toured extensively in the US kind of when we first started. But then for the last couple years, our focus has been on making videos.
Yeah, the YouTube video started totally unrelated to the band. It wasn't like a means of promotion. It was just having a laugh on the side, or a non-laugh. Sharing our videos with dozens of people around the world. At least 36.
Ah, classic! They're talking tosh here, of course, because their audience can be measured in the millions. Their videos send up the asinine conventions of television news and the renter pundits who populate its broadcasts. They're also concerned with exposing the nonsensical guff and plain silliness to be found in politics.
Those turtles that were climbing girls couldn't climb over the turtle fence. It was turtle proof. It was 3 feet high. The same thing is going to happen to healthcare. And one of these days, a congressman from Michigan's going to come back home and build a turtle fence.
Their most popular video, however, wasn't part of the Auto-Tune the News series.
So hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband, because they're raping everybody out here.
They took already existing footage of one Anton Dodson, who was interviewed on the local news after saving his sister from an attempted sexual assault. The video has been viewed over 78 million times. Although half of the iTunes sales go to the Dodson family, is it exploitation?
Antoine's original speech that he gave was already this amazing amalgam of anger, and righteously so, but with his kind of natural personality and wit.
We just acted as translators. We sat down at the round table and we were wondering whether to translate it into French, German, or hip-hop top 40 hit. And we decided on the latter, and I think it worked out the best. So that's the way we avoided that stigma. We don't try to put in our own jabs at anything. We just translate it.
I was banging 7-gram rocks, that's how I roll. Winning, I had 1 gear, go, epic. Winning. Backing up, cause my daddy taught me good.
I was just going to say the Back It Up song is the most profound and uplifting song I've ever heard. It's amazing.
Diana is another case of just this like incredible personality, this unique person that just shone through in what otherwise would have probably been a very bland interview, as sometimes local news tends to be.
I've never seen like such somebody be like so excited about being alive as in that moment, just because she'd just like been through a traumatic experience.
The whole narrative is encapsulated in that song. You really get every single little piece of the story about how she'd gone to the coffee shop. She was just putting one more tap of coffee in her coffee cup, and then you find out what happened to her and how she escaped injurious harm.
I was putting 1 more tap of coffee in my coffee cup, and out the corner of my eyes I saw 2 guys come in. One with the black hoodie, one with the white hoodie, black hoodie, white hoodie. They said, "We want your money, everybody down." And I'm like, "Oh, why do I need coffee now?" And so the guy in black starts coming down, down.
For a while, we'd go months without putting something out, but it's just because we really wanted to capture the right material before we put something out.
Another major barrier to us kind of increasing our production quality is, even if we are so lucky as to make tens of dollars on some of these videos and fund our bagel consumption, even if we are so lucky as to make a little bit of money, we are still stuck with the same set of unskilled laborers working on the video, namely us.
This is our business, isn't it, really?
To call it a business might be an insult to other businesses, but we'll take it.
They're not a meme, they're not an amusing video of a cat that looks like Hitler. They've actually got something to say about the world around them. And this is why the Gregorys aren't likely to fade away into internet obscurity.
The novelty of auto-tuning something has definitely worn off. I mean, now there are just so many remix videos out there, and you can put out a remix video and nobody cares. It just has to really catch their eye, or it has to be good. It's like when the first caveman wrote the first song, everyone was like, "Oh, dag, this is amazing. This thing, like they're talking, but it's like on a note." And then the second time he wrote a song, they're like, "Whatever.
Not as good as the first song.
Not as good as the first one. It's already been done before."
So played out.
Yeah. Now nobody cares unless you write a good song, and it's just going to be the same way for Auto-Tune the News or anything else.
The resources exist for your father and mine to get the same treatment.
Yeah, we're in agreement.
Well, hey, thanks so much for talking to me today, guys. I really appreciate it. I brought you some things from the South Pacific, from New Zealand. Yeah, some refill.
Oh.
A little pad there.
Oh, this is a pad of paper.
Yeah. This is a copy of the New Zealand Fishing News.
I just got U.S. fishing news and was thinking, it could really use a kind of international perspective. This is perfect.
And this is the best one. This is a picture of our Prime Minister, John Key. It's autographed as well.
He signed it.
He says, "Don't
Yes,
auto-tune
it's
me."
a picture.
Do you see what
Don't
auto-tune me? And then it says, "lol."
He's just playing hard to get.
Yay!
Jose Barbosa there, and it bears noting that of the dozens of auto-tune the news subjects, only one has defied the enforced tunefulness of the software, and that was Sarah Palin. She was beyond help. Now, we looked at Rupert Murdoch earlier in the show. Well, meet the next boss. Murdoch's son James has been anointed as Chief Operating Officer and presumptive heir to the family firm. This week, he was asked about the phone hacking scandal at a public relations conference in New York. No big deal, apparently. You talk about the reputation crisis. Actually, the business is doing really well. It shows what we were able to do is really put this problem in a box. Yes, a scandal that now ropes in 2 prime ministers, half the royal family, the Metropolitan Police and Crown prosecution, and may yet see journalists jailed, is contained. The boy has his father's command of the force. And on that happy note, we're off to dinner. Thanks again to our guests, Paul Brislin and Chris Barton, and to you for watching. We'll be back with Media7 at the same time next week. Until then, goodbye.